Babylonian Number System by Melissa Teo and Alice Zhang. So we will first start off with talking about the history. So, where is Babylon? Well, Babylon is an ancient city in Mesopotamia. And this number system was developed between 3000 and 2000 BCE. It was primarily used in the 18th century when Babylon was still a prominent city in Mesopotamia. However, indications of the development of the numbers are yet to be found. Therefore, it is assumed that Babylonian numbers have always been the same. Here is a small picture of a Babylonian mathematical tablet. Now we will talk about the number symbols in the Babylonian number system. Here is a chart of the numbers from 1 to 59 in Babylonian numbers. First off, Babylonian numbers are written in cuneiform. What cuneiform pretty much are the wedge-shaped characters that are largely used in ancient Mesopotamia. These numbers only have two different characters. First, I will show you the triangle with a rod, which represents 1, and a wedge that represents 10. So in this case, if you had 2 wedges and 3 triangles with the rods, this would equal 23, because 10 plus 10 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 would equal to 23, as you can see in this picture right here. Now another example would be 5 wedges and 8 triangles with rods would be 58, because as you can see, there are 5 wedges, which would mean 50, and 8 triangle with rods, which would mean 8, and together that would be 58. Now here are some more examples of Babylonian numbers. Here is 16 with 1 wedge and 6 triangle with rods. Now here's 34 with 3 wedges and 4 triangles with rods. And lastly, here is 27 with 2 wedges and 7 triangles with rods. Now this is going to get a bit more complicated because in this case, we're going to talk about how the Babylonian number system is a sexagesimal, or easily known as a base 60 system. What this means is pretty much that the triangle with a rod here can also mean 60 or more numbers instead of 1, depending on where it is placed. So the value of this little triangle with a rod is mainly shown through large gaps. So as it moves farther, it could be 60, it could be 60 to the power of 2 or 60 to the power of 3. Here you can see a chart or table that has the little triangle with a rod placed in different places. So the first one, because it's not multiplied by anything, it would just mean 1. However, if it's put over here in the times 60 column, it would be 1 multiplied by 60. Therefore, this triangle with a rod would represent 60. Then later on, you put it farther into the chart, it would be 1 multiplied by 60 to the power of 2, which would be 3,600. And that is the value of this symbol. Lastly, you will see this symbol in the last column, which then will represent 1 multiplied by 60 to the power of 3, which is 216,000. This is a bit complicated because 1, or in this case, this triangle with a rod symbol, is not the only one that can represent multiple numbers. So in this next graph right here, you will see the number 31 put into the different columns. So for the first column, it's 31 times by nothing. So that is obviously just 31. Then the second column, it would be times by 60. So 31 times by 60 is 1,860. Therefore, this would represent 1,860. Now to the next column is 31 times by 60 to the power of 2, which is 111,600. Then at the last column in the times by 60 to the power of 3, here 31 will be multiplied by 60 to the power of 3, which then would be 6,696,000. Now I will show you some examples of numbers in using this 60 base system. Here you can see that this little triangle with a rod represents 60 because it's put beside the number 11. So 60 plus 11 would be 71. Therefore, this represents 71. Then over here, you have two triangles with rods, which would represent 120 because it's 60 times by 2. And then here we have just 31. So this would equals 151. Then for this last one, you can see right here that it has 5 triangles with rods. But beside it, there's also 40. So 5 times by 60 is 300, and then 300 plus 40 would just be 340. Now we will look at a much bigger number. Here is the number 424,000. So we will be dissecting this number. First of all, here at the farthest left, you will see a triangle with a rod. This represents 1. But because it's on the farthest left, we will be multiplying this by 60 to the power of 3. In this case, it would be 216,000. So we will have 216,000 added by 57 times by 60 to the power of 2 because it's beside the 1. So here that would be 205,200. Then we will have 46 times by 60, and that is 2,760. And for the last one to the farthest right, that would be 40. So all of these numbers added together would make 424,000. This is why that all of these little symbols together would equal 424,000. Lastly, I will be showing some math questions with these Babylonian numbers. So first of all, we have 5 plus 3 equals 8. Here it can be shown through these 5 little triangle with rods plus by 3 triangle with rods, which would equals 8 triangle with rods. Then we have 4 times 10 equals 40. So 4 is represented by 4 triangle with rods, and then times by 10. So 10 is represented by a little wedge. Then it will equals 40, so it will be 4 wedges. Lastly, for 58 divided by 7 equals 8, we will have 5 wedges and 8 triangle with rods to represent 58. And then for 7, we have 7 triangle with rods. And of course for 8, it's 8 triangles with rods. And so that will be the end to this lesson on the Babylonian number system.